courage had receded into those compartments of his mind reserved for periods of his life that could be encapsulated under a single title: public school. Senior public school, high school, the unemployed, dropout. I was married for 5 years for rump bump, and they were the happiest 3 years of my life. He didn't have to read the diary to know that it would reopen several cans of worms. The fans loved the commentaries in his reprint volumes, although they were self-serving, not well thought out, and consequently embarrassing for one to reread the reparure. He would get Karen to type up the diary and then decide what to do with it. Dave Sim's 1982 tour book, vintage memories and photos too. I'm flipping through the maps and notes and all the vintage and views. Dave Sim's 1982 tour book, editing these things and finding facts. Mistle autographs colored correct. I guess we'll see what Dave wants.
We don't want a repeat of the Spanish Spawn issues. I think you're comparing apples and oranges there. That was Todd McFarlane, I think lawyer-driven, saying if you don't control all use of your intellectual property's logo, you can lose the rights to the logo. And it's like, possibly. I think you'd probably have to go back 50 or maybe 70 years to find an example of that. And now it's just logo is just part of our culture. But there was no reason that Todd McFarlane couldn't be accommodated on that. I really don't think that Disney is particularly concerned about a book that is going to sell to 100 or maybe 300 people on Kickstarter at the most. If you don't publicize that side of it, it's like, okay, this is what we're talking about, but we're not going to tell you what's in the book. You have to buy the book. Then you buy the book and you go, oh, okay, I had no idea this is where you were going with this. It's not as if X-Men completists are going to be going, I have to find a copy of this somewhere or my X-Men collection won't be complete. TBH. I don't know what TBH is. To be honest. To be honest? I'll bet that's it. To be honest. I'm not sure how much they owe to Claremont or the New Mutants, and I'm not sure if Dave's time is best spent writing essays on hacks like Liefeld. That hack made a lot of money in a very short space of time. That would be the envy of many, if not all, cartoonists. I don't think that's what we're doing here. It is relating to 1982. In terms of this was already rolling along at the same time that the X-Men was rolling along at a much higher commercial level than Cerebus was at the time of the 82 tour. Anonymous said, I just checked, and there is a Facebook group called Comics in Focus, Chris Claremont's X-Men. If it was me, I would be tempted to send them a friendly email saying something like, hey, everyone knows that Claremont had a big influence on the X-Men movies. What would you say are the top 10 scenes taken from the comics? And do you have the relevant times in the movies and comic issue numbers? Otherwise, it sounds really time-consuming. Well, not only time-consuming, but I think we've established over the last hour and a half, coming up on 2 hours, that there is very seldom a direct correlation between the comics and what you see in the movies. I know I had that experience when I saw the second Avengers movie. I think it was the second Avengers movie with the kitchen families. And sitting there and watching the movie, and I'm going, okay, I don't know where they're going with this. I don't know where they're going with this. And then it's like, oh, it's the Vision. All right, oh, okay, that's very clever. It's not the Vision as I know him, and not the Vision from John Buscema's and Stan Lee's only an android can cry, or whatever that one was. But yeah, sitting there in the movie theater and going, okay, they've taken a different approach to it, but here's the payoff for the comic book fan. Look, it's the Vision. You know who the Vision is. Most of the people in this movie theater have no idea who the Vision is. How many people out there are going to have the complete Claremont run and the time to link up scenes to all the X-Men movies? That's a good question. I think I'm picturing, again, as Dave Sim, who's always been mostly over here and all genre stuff is over there. Picturing that the average comic book fan has, if not Claremont's actual run, they have the Marvel Essentials of Claremont's run, and they would just be refreshing their memories. And that might not be the case. I mean, this is kind of a relevant story, I think. That I was doing a signing at a store in the mid-1980s, late 1980s, and the store owner said, everybody comes into the store, like I have this whole customer base who goes, what's going on in the X-Men? And, the guys on the counter are trying to answer the question and not doing a really good job of it. I'm going to sit down and read all of Chris Claremont's run on the X-Men, and I'm going to write here's what's going on in the X-Men. And he couldn't do it because a big part of Chris's genius was the fact that he could keep people reading the book even though it didn't make a lot of sense, and things didn't hook up. You didn't suddenly have a payoff 4 issues later that from this issue over here. It's Alien comes out and it's like, oh, okay, we're going to do Alien, and it's like, well, okay, how does that fit in the story? It's like that's kind of irrelevant. We're going to do Alien, but we're going to do it with the X-Men, and then whatever else, appeals to Chris and makes him go, oh, we're going to do this now. It's not, it's more like a soap opera. It was definitely more like soap operas that don't actually make sense. It's just, they keep you coming back because you want to know, okay, who is this person? Okay, well, we'll explain that. And then we'll allude to going back to these people, but we won't actually go back to these people. It's all forward momentum. It's like shark narrative. We just keep it steaming along. So yeah, I would think that particularly since the audience that we're talking about here, the Cerebus audience is maybe 100, 200 people. The odds of any of them having Chris Claremont's run on the X-Men and an encyclopedic knowledge of it is very, very slim. Anonymous said, am I right that Dave is doing this on a page-by-page basis? I.e., we sort out the wedding photos for the lady section, then the X-Men section, then so on until we get a, say, 50-page book. You might need volunteers for the different bits, if so. For the interviews, it sounds like Dave wants them condensed and reformatted, so that might be less time consuming. Well, I'm still laying out the roadmap for this, of saying, okay, this is what I'm picturing. I think yes, it's on a page by page basis. So whatever is available of what it is that I'm picturing, and whatever we choose to do, we're not going to know until we get there. The next thing, which might be next month. I don't know if it'll be next month or it'll be 2 months away. Is the whole feminism thing? It's like, okay, there's, I think, four female Cerebus fans, so 4 female Cerebus buyers, backers, and then the rest of them are guys. How much feminism do guys need? Because one of the things that I've built up an inventory on is Diana Schutz's contributions to the '82 tour book, which is basically hardcore feminism. It's Denny Lubert came along and showed everybody how it's done, and inspired me, and I became an editor. And here's all of the things that I've done that I wouldn't have done if I hadn't seen somebody like Deni do it. So that's going to be a very long segment where, as I say, up past an hour now on this one and still chugging along. That one, I think what I'm going to do is take everything that Diana wrote in the '82 tour book, specifically for the '82 tour book, and then also take all the stuff that she wrote back in 1982, 1983, and basically just read the whole thing beginning to end. And, everybody who's listening can go, that's interesting. I think that should be included. And, definitely, Diana Schutz's entire career documented in photos with, hopefully, Kamiko, Oni Press, Dark Horse. She definitely worked a lot of places, and was in positions of authority. And this is her vouching for Deni, which Deni wasn't an editor. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I do want included, however much of Diana Schutz's commentary we include, is Deni saying that she has no time for editors. Basically, she gets books in, she looks at them, and if she doesn't think it's publishable, she's not going to tell the person how to change it to make it publishable. She'll just send it back to them and say, try again. So it's like this person who had no time for editors inspired an editor. It does happen, and it did happen. And, I'm more than willing to document that. But it does come down to, with feminism everywhere, and, in 2026, feminism is everywhere. I don't know exactly how much more feminist propaganda we need. And, I'll leave that up to the readership. Like I say, I'll just read everything that Diana had to say about Deni, and we'll see. Okay, is that 2 pages? Is that 3 pages? Is that 4 pages? Does that include or exclude all of the photos of Diana and all of the places she worked and how many positions she held and how many awards she was nominated for? But that's again up ahead. For the interviews, it sounds like Dave wants them condensed and reformatted, so that might be less time consuming. No, it has to be a much, much larger winnowing process than that. I mean, I'm reading I reread all of the interviews all the way through, and I've put post-it notes in on any pages where I suddenly woke up and went, oh, that's interesting. I had forgotten that. Or that's interesting. That's, something from 1982 that people are just completely unfamiliar with in 2026. And then there's whole chunks of it where it's like, okay, every Cerebus fan already knows this. We don't really need to be, clobbering them over the head with, here's what Cerebus is. It's like, Cerebus wasn't feminist propaganda, so effectively it doesn't exist, except for the 100 people for whom it does exist. And those people, you don't really have to keep repeating the story. Anonymous said, if the idea is to big up Deni and Dave challenging Marvel, then is it not worth having something in about how close Cerebus came to the Hollywood brass ring? Something like, quote, many compared Cerebus to Howard the Duck. While Dave and Deni were touring, billionaire Star Wars creator George Lucas tapped Howard for the blockbuster Hollywood treatment. Although not as successful as Star Wars, a few years later, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a comic influenced by and even starring Cerebus, became a breakout hit. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's one of those, if anybody else has bridging material like that, where they go, okay, this is the thesis that we're working under and working on. How do you distill that down to a paragraph? How do you distill that down to a couple of sentences? And definitely, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie poster from 1990 at least. That was still back in the day where a movie had a movie poster, not a bunch of movie posters. And I sort of touched on that with, I was tapped to write Howard the Duck at the time when Bill Mantlo was edging his way off of it. Steve Gerber was gone and was not coming back, and nobody knew that behind the scenes, George Lucas was definitely in serious planning about a Howard the Duck movie. I also thought, and I haven't included this, is the Cerebus X-Men crossover, which only had the one graphic, which is beneficial in this case. That was just up ahead from 1982. And that was, Chris Claremont's clout at Marvel. If Chris really wants to do a Cerebus X-Men crossover, we'll do a Cerebus X-Men crossover. Because, this guy is making tons and tons and tons of money for Marvel Comics. Doesn't have to be in there, but exactly the thing that you're talking about here. There are ways to do a single graphic and maybe a caption and a paragraph or two and say, okay, this is another thing that happened which relates to our thesis here. You could use Wikipedia to write articles on George Lucas and the Turtles if Dave is looking for widespread appeal. Your average comic shop still has tons of Star Wars and Turtles stuff. Yeah, good point. It's one of those George Lucas, 1982, uh, would be particularly relevant. When did he start seriously talking about Howard the Duck movie? Um, and when did that first come to light? And how much digging do you have to do to find that out? Anonymous said, I'm not on Facebook personally, but doesn't the Facebook group have periodic rereads like the Yahoo group used to do? Maybe instead of doing Cerebus, people could reread all of Claremont's X-Men and watch all the movies to help Dave with the book. That's, I think we've already covered that, and that comes down to Eddie Connor saying, not me, and Matt Dow saying, not me, and I don't, scanning the room, reading the room, I don't see a lot of hands shooting up going, oh, pick me, pick me. Or here is, Anonymous said, or here's an idea, or the next few days ask non-comics fans in your life what their favorite X-Men or related movie is. Spoiler, Deadpool will win. That'd be interesting. I would be interested to hear the results of that, just casually, non-comics fans, and do they even know that Deadpool and Wolverine are X-Men related? And which one is their favorite? I tend to have this mental image of the movie audience really just wants to go to a blockbuster because it's summer, so that's what you do. You go and see whatever the blockbuster is that everybody's talking about. But I think it was Sandy Atwell that said, you're forgetting the movie even while you're still watching it. It's it's that forgettable. It's just, okay, I'm here to see the special effects. Boom, zoom. Look at that. Whoa! Look at that use of vanishing point. Look at those colors. But that it's for the average person. It's like, did you see Deadpool? And do they even have a reaction to that? Or do they go, what are you even talking about? And it could be that, yes, they did go and see it. They might have gone and seen it twice. Or they saw it on Showtime or whatever it is that they saw it. And still, while they were watching it, they were forgetting it. That would be interesting. Another anonymous picks up on that. Not necessarily. Deadpool is arguably pretty flash in the pan relative to Wolverine. Is there a consensus on that? Show of hands, show of hands. Who would agree that Deadpool is flash in the pan relative to Wolverine? Deadpool is also way overrated. The novels of Thomas Pynchon are playfully metatextual. Deadpool has moderately amusing jokes about Paul Rudd and pegging. Okay, there you go. Talk about damning with faint praise. I don't think we'd even go over in the direction of Deadpool because that was so far after this cozy little 1982 group that I don't think that it would take way too many paragraphs to explain, okay, this is why we're dragging Deadpool into this. That's my opinion. Your results may vary. Anonymous said, having said that, many say Grant Morrison's Animal Man influenced Deadpool. And Dave did similar fourth wall breaking years after the tour book era, though. Right, exactly. We don't mind getting ahead on the time stream. We want a just before the 82 tour just after the 82 tour. And then if there's something like a $1 billion grossing movie where you go, okay, well, we have to mention this, as nobody had any idea back at this time that that was even possible. You know, the idea that a superhero movie could make money and actually, you know, create a sequel, as Superman did. Hey, that's really cool. I can't, you know, that's almost unimaginably cool. $1 billion, you got to be kidding me. No, it actually happened. Baby Dave could talk about mines and Deadpool in the tour book, though. I think that would probably be a separate thing. That I haven't read Deadpool, and I haven't actually read Animal Man, so I think that would be one of those. If a Chris Warner or somebody at his level of conceptualization and journalism went, yeah, I could picture spending some time on this. Let's do an article about Mines, Deadpool, and Animal Man. But I don't think that's what we're doing here. I think that's getting into the actual content of the concepts, and not getting into here's what this thing was that we had no idea where it was going, and here's where it ended up. Anonymous said, yeah, but what happens if we get to next month, tour book wins again, and we can't progress, as Dave is waiting for the X-Men movie scenes that match the comics? I don't think we're at that point now. It's like we've you know, it's taken us, you know, all of you guys writing all of this stuff, and me reading all of this stuff, and me talking about all of this stuff for an hour and a half or so. And I got another prayer time. Back in a minute.
Cerebus was the name of the magazine. Her sister and brother provided the aardvark and Vanaheim of the publishing company's name when they realized that Cerebus had been misspelled, and ad-libbed that Cerebus was the name of the aardvark mascot cartoon, Cerebus the aardvark. It had a nice ring to it.